Where are we in this in this tech story? Because so goes tech, so goes I think maybe everything, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. And I think we're seeing more of that bifurcation. When you look at the price action that we had yesterday, it was very, very challenging in tech and specifically the semiconductor trade. But the broader market still had more upward movers than downward movers. You saw strength in the healthcare space, financials were doing well. So there's a lot of stuff that is still working in this market despite some jitters that might exist around technology. And rising interest rates don't suddenly make technology a bad investment. I think what the market is doing is it's finally starting to suss out and ask questions more around, can these companies actually sustain the amount of debt that they're issuing? And it's looking more discreetly at who are the winners and losers going to be. And I think it increases the importance going forward of owning higher quality, high free cash flow generating assets, particularly the beneficiaries of all of that spending, as opposed to, say, the spenders themselves. So there's still opportunities in tech and outside.
Give me some names of folks you went in on, and give me some names you want to stay away from.
So I think the hyperscalers in general are areas I wouldn't not own in a portfolio, but it's not where I'd be putting my marginal dollar. So Taiwan Semiconductor is one of my favorite names right now for portfolios because it sold off during the month of July, but all roads lead back to Taiwan Semiconductor with respect to this build out. And despite their CapEx plans, we continue to see incredibly strong revenue growth month over month. And they are the only game in town with respect to the most precise chips that are being made. Other names that I think make sense, Andrew, in a portfolio, look at a well tower to perhaps complement your information technology exposure. It's a healthcare REIT exposed to an aging demographic that we know is growing in the US and continues to increase their margins by making smart acquisitions, shedding some medical office spaces, and really catering towards full service, vertically integrated senior housing. So that's a name that I think is a great ballast to, say, information technology.
One of the questions is just how wide do you think, what kind of transition we have, not just from tech, but sort of the rotation that's taking place, and how much of a rotation you think ultimately is going to take place?
So we've seen this rotation of starts. It's had fits and starts. And I really think there is sustainability to what you're seeing with respect to strength in the financials area. You've seen really, really strong growth across the banks, in particular capital market companies. There's durability there, and there's durability on a global level to that area. I think healthcare is a more challenged space. Earnings growth for this past quarter were actually negative, and you have to be specific. Pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, healthcare REITs, those are perhaps areas that I may think make sense. HMOs, which have done well, I think there's still question marks with respect to that business going forward. So perhaps that's an area to avoid. I think rising rates might challenge utilities a little bit. We've also seen some questions with respect to data center connectivities and states pushing back. So it's selectivity is what's going to be really, really important in this market going forward. And my favorite sectors are tech, financials, and industrials, and not just AI data center industrials, Andrew, but also your more cyclicals, your railroads, your trucking companies. You've seen an inflection with respect to earnings, and financials are corroborating that with really strong commercial and industrial loan growth.
From the perspective of the Chip King stock valuation, investors might be overlooking Nvidia's dominance in the AI chip market. The call, according to recent research by Bank of America analyst Vivek Arya, Nvidia shares are trading at a roughly 40%, 50% discount to AI compute peers on an enterprise value-to-free cash flow basis. Furthermore, the stock is presently trading between 31% and 36% below the S&P 500. According to Arya, the relative valuation discount on Nvidia is overstating the risks involved in investing in businesses like OpenAI and Anthropic and presenting a compelling opportunity. Nvidia's shares are still 7% below their 52-week high, despite an 8% increase during the previous month leading up to the company's August 26th earnings report. According to research, Nvidia's stock reached a 52-week high of $236.54 on May 14th. The market is set up for Nvidia to publish something fantastic and for CEO Jensen Huang to sound really optimistic during the earnings call, if there is any reason to approach cautiously ahead of the company's earnings. Additionally, they are aware that there is no possibility of a decline in Nvidia's expanding investment portfolio because the majority of privately held AI companies, like Anthropic, are receiving increasing values. In a report on Wednesday, Stifel analyst Ruben Roy stated, "We continue to expect a beat and raise. As CSP CapEx was significantly increased, Foxconn's cloud and networking segment crossed 50% of revenue for the first time, with full-year AI rack shipments predicted to more than double, and Supermicro booked over $60 billion in new orders in a single quarter. Earnings season has consistently supported the demand case we made in our broader coverage preview." Roy continued, "We believe that the multiple partially reflects the other main debates, memory cost and inference competition, which are likely to be expressed in gross margin rather than demand. Investors must take into account the company's growth rate in addition to the fact that the stock is more costly than the S&P 500, with a trailing price-to-earnings ratio of 37.5 based on adjusted earnings per share. When you take it into account, Nvidia is blazing. The company's revenue increased by 85% in the first quarter, and when it introduces its new Rubin platform, revenue growth is anticipated to pick up speed in the second quarter, reaching 97%. On its own, a price-to-earnings ratio is not very helpful in determining a company's valuation. The PEG ratio, which is the price-to-earnings to growth ratio, or the PE ratio, divided by its anticipated compound annual earnings per share growth over a specific time, usually the next 5 years, is the indicator that takes a company's growth rate into account. Nvidia's PEG ratio was only 0.62 as of August 2026. Since it shows that earnings will increase to produce a strong return on investment, a PEG ratio of less than 1 is usually seen as inexpensive. Although future earnings are hard to forecast, particularly 5 years from now, there is undoubtedly a lot of momentum behind Nvidia's growth. The market for Nvidia's data center processors, which account for the majority of its business, appears to be continuing to grow, in addition to revenue being predicted to almost quadruple in fiscal Q2 2027, the current quarter. With plenty of money following its recent IPO, SpaceX announced that it would only use Nvidia chips for its AI infrastructure. This indicates to the market that Nvidia produces the greatest chips and that it has gained a fantastic customer in SpaceX. SpaceX plans to invest between $150 billion and $250 billion in chips in order to reach its goal of 10 gigadollars of compute by the end of 2027. For Nvidia, that seems to set up a huge windfall. Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, has set a goal of $1 trillion in total revenue for 2026-2027. This suggests that the business may reach approximately $400 billion in sales this year and $600 billion in fiscal 2028, which concludes in January 2028. The four major hyperscalers, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Meta platforms, are predicted to spend about $700 billion on AI chips this year, and that amount is probably going to rise next year, which will support Nvidia's robust profit growth through 2028, in addition to the boost from SpaceX. Furthermore, Anthropic and OpenAI are anticipated to go public shortly. This could occur before the end of 2026, while OpenAI presently seems to be leaning toward coming public in 2027. Following their initial public offerings, such as SpaceX's, such businesses will have plenty of money and will probably increase their investments in Nvidia chips and other AI infrastructure. With a market share of almost 90%, Nvidia leads the data center GPU industry. If robotics and driverless cars become commonplace, Nvidia has enormous growth potential in the physical AI business. In the meanwhile, the business appears to be well-positioned to profit from the growth in AI infrastructure brought about by hyperscalers, SpaceX, and AI startups Anthropic and OpenAI. Given that earnings per share could quadruple between fiscal 2027 and fiscal 2029, the company appears inexpensive at its trailing price-to-earnings ratio of 37.5. Because investors appear to be wary of the cyclicality of semiconductors, Nvidia's value is lower than its growth would indicate, but I believe that's a mistake. There are indications that the AI build-out is still in its early phases, and Nvidia chips that are several years old are still in use. Even if mistrust persists, Nvidia's profitability could increase significantly going forward, which would raise the stock. The imminent release of Nvidia's earnings performance will be closely watched by the investment world. On August 26, 2026, the corporation will make its earnings public. The company is expected to announce an EPS of $2.09, which is a 99.05% increase over the same quarter last year. According to our most recent consensus estimate, quarterly sales is expected to reach $91.71 billion, a 96.2% increase over the same period last year. The consensus estimates predict revenue of $387.8 billion and earnings of $9.09 per share for the full fiscal year, which are up plus 90.57% and plus 79.59% respectively from the previous year. Investors should also monitor any recent changes to analyst projections for Nvidia. These updates usually take into account the most recent short-term business trends, which are subject to frequent change. Positive changes in estimates therefore indicate analyst optimism about the firm and profitability. According to research, there is a direct correlation between the near-term share price momentum and these estimate adjustments. We have created the rank, a unique model that accounts for these estimate fluctuations and offers a useful grading system in order to take advantage of this. The rank system, which ranges from number 1, strong buy, to number 5, strong sell, has an impressive track record of exceptional performance that has been independently audited. Since 1988, number 1 equities have contributed an average yearly return of plus 25%. Our consensus EPS estimate has increased by 0.02% during the last 30 days. As of right now, Nvidia is ranked number 2, buy. In terms of valuation, Nvidia is presently trading at a forward PE ratio of 24.76. Given that the average forward PE for its industry is 41.12, it is reasonable to assume that Nvidia is trading at a discount. Additionally, investors should be aware that Nvidia now has a PEG ratio of 0.42. Similar to the popular PE ratio, the PEG ratio also considers the company's anticipated rate of earnings growth. The average PEG ratio for the semiconductor general industry at the end of yesterday's trade was 0.77. Over the last few years, Nvidia has been the best AI stock to purchase, but this year, advanced micro devices appears to have taken the lead. In 2026, AMD has increased by an astounding 140%, while Nvidia has increased by 20%. Both stocks have been great investments in recent years, but if you go back to the beginning of the AI competition in 2023, Nvidia still leads with a gain of 1,440% compared to AMD's 695%. What is the best purchase going forward? One particular metric, in my opinion, puts one above the other, and once you grasp it, you won't be able to decide which is a superior purchase. Both of these are doing really well and expanding their top lines at amazing rates. Because both businesses provide entire systems of graphics processing units, GPUs, central processing units, CPUs, software and networking equipment, they both profit from the AI race. In data centers, these solutions are widely used to support AI inference and training. Nvidia and AMD are likely to be among the top winners of any claims of AI businesses spending hundreds of billions of dollars. These two aren't quite on equal footing, though. Since its GPUs were better than AMD's at the beginning of the AI competition, Nvidia, which is more than 6 times larger than AMD, has gained a sizable advantage. As a result, IBM was able to dominate the early AI data center industry, making it challenging for its customers to move to AMD's products when their capabilities eventually caught up. Nvidia is far bigger than AMD, as evidenced by the fact that its net income is over 4 times higher than AMD's revenue. Nevertheless, I believe that the main reason investors should purchase Nvidia's stock rather than AMD's is that AMD is valued at a much higher level than Nvidia. The value of Nvidia is almost 3 times that of Nvidia itself. This uncoupling raises some concerns because these two have often traded in the same valuation band for the better part of the last few years. In essence, the market is expressing a preference for AMD's prognosis over Nvidia's, which is illogical given that Wall Street analysts anticipate Nvidia to grow more quickly this year than AMD. Because Nvidia's stock isn't nearly as expensive, I prefer it. After accounting for this year's growth, AMD would need to almost triple its earnings in order for Nvidia and AMD to be valued at the same level. That's a difficult undertaking, and I believe AMD won't be able to accomplish it given Nvidia's continued dominance in the AI space. According to a Financial Times report citing persons with knowledge of the situation, Nvidia has begun shipping H200 processors into mainland China, with ByteDance and Tencent each getting about 10,000 chips in recent weeks. The shipments are a first step in Nvidia's endeavor to rebuild a portion of its business in China. If regulatory clearances are given, comparable allocations may be made to other Chinese technological businesses. Up to 100,000 H200 processors can be purchased by individual Chinese purchasers under U.S. licenses, but Beijing wants the majority of the chips to be stored outside of mainland China in order to help regional semiconductor manufacturers. Businesses in Hong Kong are also allowed to use the CPUs, albeit deployment may be constrained due to data center capacity and power availability. About 500,000 H200 chips are available from Nvidia, with a large portion of the stock going to Chinese buyers. Orders for H200-based systems are now being accepted by Lenovo and other partners, pending approval. Although regulatory restrictions may limit the size and speed of the firm, the shipments could offer Nvidia a small income opportunity in China.